In the beginning there was a drum, a big drum. It was called the Drum of Days, and that was before our grandfathers were born, before even the names of our ancestors were written on the stones. But this drum was no ordinary drum. The Drum of Days was carved from the heart of the oldest Irako tree. Its skin was stretched from the hide of a beast no hunter remembered killing. The gods themselves were said to have placed it in the village square, under the gaze of the sun and the moon. And this drum had a law, a very simple law: strike the drum once, and you would lose a day of your life. Strike it twice, and you would lose a week, strike it thrice, and a month would vanish like smoke. But those lost days were not destroyed, they could be given to another person to borrow. Days, weeks and years were traded like yams in the market. And so, the villagers feared the drum. No one touched it unless their heart was desperate, unless a child was dying, unless a mother's breath was failing, and unless hunger gnawed the bones. The drum had no pity and no form of mercy, and certainly, it had no smile. The drum only counted days of debt to be paid back. There was a man in that village called Okeke. His back was broad, his eyes sharp like the blade of a machete, but his heart was never full. If Okeke harvested 20 yams, he wanted 40. If he built one hut, he dreamed of 10. When his peers rested in the evening, Okeke sat awake, dreaming of cattle, dreaming of lands, dreaming of tomorrow. He would stand before the Drum of Days at night, staring. And one day, he said, "Why must I wait for tomorrow, when I can take it now?" And so, with a trembling hand, he struck the drum. Doom! The earth shivered. Somewhere in the dark, an owl cried. Okeke gasped, for he felt something slip away from him, something unseen. But when the morning came, he found an extra day in his hands. While his neighbors toiled in the field, to make ends meet, Okeke rested, and still his barns were full. When others counted coins slowly, Okeke's hands overflowed with wealth. The villagers looked and said, "Ah! Okeke is favored by the gods." But no, Okeke had simply borrowed tomorrow. The taste of one tomorrow is like the taste of a fresh palm wine, it burns sweetly, and it makes a man thirst for more, as it is, with the taste of money. So, Okeke went again another night. Doom! Doom! 2 strokes and a whole 1 week of his life was gone. But his house grew larger, his cattle fatter, his name louder in the marketplace. Men envied him and of course, women admired him. He was swelling in power, but shadows already crept at the edge of his blessings. From the day Okeke touched the Drum of Days, his life became like a river in flood, rushing, swelling, unstoppable. His barns overflowed with yam, though he worked fewer hours than the poorest farmer. Every evening, his compound filled with laughter. The aroma of roasted meat rose into the sky. Drummers beat their talking drums until the moon grew jealous. And the people whispered, "Okeke is favored by the gods. Okeke is chosen." But favor has footsteps, children, and greed walks behind it. At first, the villagers admired him, but admiration is like dew, it dries quickly. Soon, envy crept in like a snake through green grass. How did Okeke come to be having so much? They began to murmur. Did we not till the same soil and cultivated bigger farmland than he did? Are we not praying to the same gods? Mothers began to compare their sons with Okeke. Fathers beat their sons, shouting, "Lazy boy! Look at Okeke, he is younger than you are, yet his wealth keeps multiplying while you have little or nothing to show or compare." And still, Okeke smiled. He poured palm wine for his visitors and let their envy feed his pride. But there was always one more person that did not smile as much as she should. Okeke's wife, Chinyere, was a woman of gentle eyes, and she watched her husband grow richer, but she also watched shadows lengthen in their compound. Some nights, she woke to find him sitting outside, staring at the moon, his lips moving silently. At first she thought it was prayers, but other nights, he returned home late, his hands trembling, the echo of drumbeats still ringing in his ears. One evening, Chinyere asked, "Where do you go at night?" Okeke laughed. "Woman, do not trouble yourself with a man's matters. The gods have blessed me, that is all that you need to know and celebrate." But Chinyere shook her head. "Blessings do not leave a man pale in the morning. Blessings do not make his eyes restless." "Silence, woman. Do you wish to curse our fortune? Don't you enjoy these fine clothes, this meat, this wealth?" Okeke's voice hardened, as he made efforts to conceal his fear of his awareness that Nemesis was already hanging so close. Chinyere fell silent, but in her heart she began to pray. Somehow, it is common in every village that there is always one person who remembers things much more than others. In Okeke's village, that person was Elder Izudo. His bears, white as cotton, his eyes sharp as eagles. Izudo watched Okeke's rise with unease, until one market day, he called out to him, "Okeke, my son. Come, sit with me, let an old man share a story." Okeke, swollen with pride, nevertheless sat, out of respect for the elder. Izudo slowly began to speak with his voice carrying the weight of memory. Once, there was a hunter who envied the hawk. The hunter said, "Why should I crawl the earth when the hawk soars the skies?" So he begged the gods for wings. And the gods, in their mystery, gave them to him. He flew higher and higher, laughing, mocking the other hunters below. But the higher he flew, the colder the air became. His breath failed, his wings grew heavy, and when he fell from the height he flew to, he fell so hard, the earth itself groaned. Izudo looked Okeke in the eyes. "My son, beware of the drum. It does not give freely, it only borrows. And what it lends, it will certainly demand interest one day." But Okeke laughed out loud enough to attract unnecessary attention. "Old man, your stories are for children. I command tomorrow itself. Time bows to me. Go and tell your tales to the weak." And with that, he strode away, leaving the elder shaking his head in pity. But, when the young mock the wisdom of the old, the ground is already digging their grave. And when the cock crows at midnight, it is not entertaining fun, it is not greeting the dawn, but it is warning of danger. At first, the signs were small. Okeke's shadow no longer stretched full behind him in the evening sun. Instead, it grew shorter, curling at his feet like a frightened dog. He noticed it but clowned about it and laughed it away. When he bent over the river to wash his face, his reflection did not always answer. Some days, it rippled and blurred, as though the water no longer knew him. And in the night, he began to hear whispers. Soft and playful at first, sounding like the laughter of children. "Father, father, where are you?" Okeke woke up sweating. His wife Chinyere had not given birth yet and so they had no child, yet the voices grew clearer, stronger, calling him from the darkness. One night, Chinyere could not bear it anymore and she confronted him by the firelight. "Okeke, husband of my youth, listen to me. This wealth, it is bitter wealth. I see your eyes grow hollow, and I hear you cry in your sleep. Leave the drum. Let us live as we lived before, even if it means less food, less clothing, less comfort. At least I will be more comfortable and happy that we will have peace." But Okeke's face hardened like stone again. "Woman, do you think I will go back to poverty? Do you think I will watch others laugh at me? No. The drum is my servant, and as long as I command it, tomorrow is mine." Chinyere's eyes filled with tears. "Okeke, the drum is no servant to anyone, but it is a master that smiles while it sharpens its knives." But Okeke turned away and ignored the plea of his beloved wife. Also, Elder Izudo, too, did not rest. He called Okeke again and told him another tale. There was once a farmer who found a serpent egg in his farmland. Instead of crushing it, he carried it home and fed it milk, saying, "When it grows, it will protect me." The serpent grew, yes, but when it grew, it devoured the farmer first. Izuto's voice grew heavy this time. Okeke, you are feeding the serpent of time, and one day, it will swallow you. All that you have left with you right now is the time to change your ways, and nothing more. Okeke laughed. Old man, you talk too much. When you were young, did you not crave wealth? Did you not envy the rich? I have found the secret, and I will not let it go. Tomorrow is mine. Izuto closed his eyes. No, my son. Tomorrow is never ours. We only borrow it from the gods. But Okeke would not listen, and that very night, he returned to the drum of days. He struck it once. Twice. Thrice. Doom. 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 The ground quaked. The air grew cold. And in the silence that followed, Okeke would have sworn that he heard a child's cry sorrowfully. Still, his barns filled, his wealth grew, but his shadow shortened, and his reflection faded. And the whispers in his dreams became clearer. No longer children's laughter, but a single voice calling, "Father. I am coming." When a man blocks his ears to warning, even the thunder will not wake him until the flood has swept his house away. The drum of the gods does not forget. It counts slowly, but it never loses its beat. One night, swollen with pride, Okeke marched again to the drum of days. The moon hid behind clouds, and the trees swayed like mourners. He lifted his hand, struck the drum, doom. But there was no sound. Again, doom. Still, silence. A third time, his palm struck hard, desperate, doom. The air grew cold. The crickets ceased their song. The very earth held its breath. And then, a voice. Low, clear, sounded behind him, "Your tomorrows are gone." Okeke froze. His skin prickled like fire ants crawling across his body, and he turned. Right there under the moonlight, stood a figure. A boy, yet not a boy. Tall, strong, with eyes that burned like dying embers. His skin shimmered with shifting shadows, as if woven from nights Okeke had lost. Okeke's lips trembled. Who are you?" The figure stepped closer, and the ground itself seemed to bow under his feet. "I am the child you never raised. I am the laughter you borrowed, the joy you squandered, the days you cast away. I am your tomorrow, and I have come to collect." Okeke fell to his knees, disregarding the pains he sustained on his knees. "Collect what? No, please, take my cattle, take my land, take my barns. But spare me, for I have much still to enjoy." The figure's voice was like thunder hidden in clouds. "You thought tomorrow was yours, but tomorrow belongs to the gods, and the gods only borrow. Did you not hear the elder's words? Did you not hear your wife's cries? Did you not feel your shadow shorten beneath your feet?" Okeke beat his chest, wailing. "Give me one more day, just one more." But the figure shook its head. The night split with a sudden wind, and Okeke's body stiffened. His shadow rose from the ground, tearing itself free. The villagers, who had crept out to see the commotion, arrived just in time to witness the horror. They saw Okeke's flesh wrinkle, shrivel, and crumble into dust. His fine clothes fell in a heap where he had stood. And beside the heap, the boy figure turned, his eyes sweeping the villagers. "Remember," he said, voice echoing across the square, "tomorrow cannot be borrowed without a price. Guard your today, for it is all you truly own." Then, as suddenly as he had come, he was gone, leaving only the silent drum behind. Fear gripped the people. Some ran away in fear, but some fell on their knees. Some covered their ears to block out the sound of their own heartbeats. Elder Izuto lifted his staff and declared, "You have seen it. You have all heard it. The gods are just. The drum of days does not lie. Let no man strike it in greed again." And from that night, children crossed the village square in silence, never daring to look at the drum for too long. Okeke, who thought he could own tomorrow, became dust upon the earth. The ground drank him, the wind carried him, and his name became a warning. The wind carried the footsteps of Okeke, the man who borrowed tomorrow. His story is not just his own, it is the story of all who forget the value of today. In the days that followed, silence covered the village like mist. Men worked their farms with slower steps, and with their eyes darting toward the square. Women hushed their children when they played too close to the sacred drum. Even the bravest warriors refused to strike it. The drum stood, proud and silent, its skin unbroken, its heart untouched. And every villager who passed it remembered the night Okeke vanished into dust. As for Chinyere, Okeke's wife, she wept for him, not because she missed his wealth, but because she had seen the man she loved became consumed by greed. She poured libations at dawn, whispering, "May the gods forgive him, may his soul find rest, may others learn from his folly." Her prayers rose like smoke, and the village listened. Elder Azuto gathered the children beneath the tree and spoke, as he always did, with voice like steady rain. "My children, remember this, time is not a goat you can tether. It is not a coin you can spend twice. Each day the gods give us is a calabash filled with water. If you drink it wisely, you live. If you waste it, you thirst. But do not think you can borrow another man's calabash. For when the gods come to count, they count with both hands." The children nodded, wide-eyed, for they had seen Okeke's fate with their own eyes. And so it is said, he who borrows tomorrow will lose today. For tomorrow is not a servant, not a slave, not a drum you can beat at will. Tomorrow is the gift of the gods, and once wasted, it cannot be borrowed back. Guard your days, guard your hours, and guard your breath. Now, let this tale walk with you into your dreams. And when you wake at dawn, remember Okeke, and drink the water of your day with gratitude, for tomorrow belongs to the gods. Today is yours. Make the best of it. Please subscribe to this channel. Like and share this story with your loved ones and those you need them to share in its moral values. You can sit back and enjoy more of other interesting stories that we already have on this channel. Enjoy. Stay blessed.